I chain smoke and I say fuck a lot. But I accept myself for the way I am. I accept you too. Viewer discretion advised.
What?
I recently made a video called The Twilight Zone Triple Tragedy about the 1982 helicopter crash that killed Jennifer Jason Leigh's father, actor Vic Morrow, and 2 illegally hired Vietnamese children during the filming of the Steven Spielberg-produced The Twilight Zone in a segment directed by John Landis. Thanks to Brooke for informing me that his son, screenwriter-director Max Landis, was accused of sexual assault last year by multiple women. 8 women accused Hollywood filmmaker Max Landis of emotional and sexual abuse. Quote, "We're not people to him." 8 accusers have come forward against the Bright screenwriter and Hollywood scion, alleging a pattern of emotional, physical, and sexual abuse that spans a decade. June 18, 2019. This is from last year. I missed it originally because I didn't know who Max Landis was, but now I do. Apparently, one of his exes, Annie Baker, took to social media last year to warn others about his pattern of behavior. "If you have found my page via Max Landis, hi," Baker wrote. "I'm going to give you some direct info I wish I had gotten, because the experience/aftermath of this person is really destructive, and it will be riddled with pain and emotional work that you don't need to spend your precious energy on." Baker told the Daily Beast that she quickly received supportive responses, many from other women who had their own Max Landis stories. Quote, "Women that I had never heard of were like, I too was tortured by this person. It gets worse every day. Every story I hear, I'm like, how did I think I knew this person? It's horrifying. But I just feel like I need to be as honest as possible, since my goal in this is to help other people to not be in the same position." Baker also claims there was another incident later on in their relationship, which Landis later claimed not to remember. "We finished having sex, and we were standing naked in his kitchen, and I slapped his butt. And he said, 'Don't slap my butt.' And I said, 'No, I'm going to,' in a way I thought was playful. And he snapped. Is the only way I can describe it. He turned me around and put his hands around my throat, and he got very close to my face, and he said, 'I will fucking kill you. Do you understand what I'm saying? I will fucking kill you.'" This article is more like a book than an article, so I'm just going to go over a few things. But I'll leave a link if you want to read the whole thing. Baker wasn't the first person to call Landis out on his destructive behavior. In 2017, a number of entertainment industry insiders wrote about Landis on social media. The posts ranged from not-so-subtle subtweets to overt callouts in response to a Netflix tweet promoting Bright, an upcoming Landis project. The actress Anna Akana responded, quote, "Written by a psychopath who sexually abused and assaults women, right? Cool." Landis did not respond to multiple requests for comment through his representative. Quote, "I can't imagine who is more scared in a post-Weinstein world than a famous director's son," musician and writer Ellie Gortz posted. Landis' father, John Landis, is best known for directing films like Animal House, An American Werewolf in London, Coming to America, and the segment of The Twilight Zone where the tragedy occurred. Akana, who has continued to speak out publicly about Landis, told the Daily Beast that she first started hearing, quote, "terrible things about the screenwriter when they were still friends years ago. And then after I went public, there were some more people who came to me. 10 or so first-hand allegations of sexual misconduct in total. As for second-hand allegations, there were too many to count. There's too many voices to ignore," Akana insisted, "and I felt the need to be vocal because Max is intimidating, and he's scary. And I've seen, being in that friend group, the most frustrating things is that he would lord his power and his money over people and intimidate them into friendship or into forgiveness. Quote, he trusted that we wouldn't never say anything, worked actively to discredit people who were saying things, and was just as consistent in the abuse as he was with covering it up and manipulating us afterwards. He better not have smacked that dog." Many of the ex-friends, colleagues, and girlfriends that spoke to the Daily Beast for this piece stressed the role that Landis' careful cultivation of acquaintances played in his alleged pattern of predation. Landis' wealth and family connections were certainly tools in his arsenal, but so was a friend group he kept around him, as both a lure and a shield. At one point, known as, quote, the Color Society, a spelling that Landis allegedly insisted upon, Landis' circle was an immediate draw for Julie, who first met Landis when she was relatively new to LA. Max's whole entire MO was he had a special friend group. It's very exclusive, and you're lucky to be a part of it. He introduced me to almost every single one of my current friends. A secret circle of friends? Like a cult or something? Lanny, a former friend of Landis, whose stint in the Color Society overlapped with Julie's, had a similar introduction to the circle. Quote, Max was one of the first people I met when I moved to LA. He amassed this huge group of really cool people that he would get together for ridiculous activities. 100-person Nerf battles, and elaborate theme parties, which he casually spent 50 grand on. As someone who grew up with just a small group of close friends, the idea of feeling part of this crazy, creative, weird, and charismatic community was really appealing. It gave me the sense of belonging I'd always craved. Multiple ex-members compared aspects of the group dynamic to a cult. I think he really does operate sort of as a cult leader. Samantha, a former friend who also briefly dated Landis, told the Daily Beast, here's someone with a lot of resources and power and glamour, and he's surrounding himself with people, basically kids who just moved to LA. Far from knows where. If you don't have a network, he swoops in, and like a predator, he knows how to hook a person. My initial impression of him was he's trouble, explained Samantha, who met Landis in college at the University of Miami. He just sort of wears you down. He's that persistent. He sees something shiny and he wants it. He's like, I have to have it. He would systematically try to have sex with all the women I knew. We're not people to him. Describing the spectrum of abuse that she experienced during their relationship, Julie wrote, he would bring up his hand and fake that he was going to hit me and laugh when I flinched. He showed me abuse and humiliation porn and constantly tested my boundaries. This became murkier and murkier as the relationship got more tumultuous, as I grew to view sex with him as the only way to receive love and connect. This led me to allowing myself to become more and more abused. He claimed that seeing me cry was a turn on. This later turned into a routine of him yelling and humiliating me until I cried, then having sex with me while I continued to cry with no regard or effort to make things right. He'd insinuate fights, belittle and upset me just so he could have sex with me. And the real, legitimate fights ended the same way. He choked me until I passed out and did humiliating, degraded things to me that I still can't manage to write on paper. He continued to violate my boundaries into even after our relationship. And if any of this still feels like a blurred line scenario, let me assure you that he did hold me down and rape me while I said no, over and over. Afterwards, I punched him in the shoulder and I told him, when someone says no, you're supposed to stop. What you just did, they call rape. He said he thought we were playing a game and that I liked it. He didn't care. Max Landis is a serial rapist, gaslighter, physical and psychological abuser who tormented me for 6 years, long after our romantic relationship, both directly and behind my back, Julie wrote in her statement. In a 2016 email to Max Landis that was reviewed by the Daily Beast, Julie summarized much of the alleged physical, emotional, and sexual abuse, including the jumping on my car incident and the night where I said no multiple times, then punched you in the shoulder after and said, if someone says no, they mean no, and you laughed it off. Landis responded to the email, well, this all sounds horrible. When Anna Akana first called out Landis on social media in 2017, Laney received a call from him, which he categorized as damage control. He called me to apologize, and in the very same breath, said he didn't really remember what he did to me. He says, I don't know what I'm apologizing for, but I'm very sorry if I made you feel bad. It was surreal. In a statement to the Daily Beast, Carrie wrote that Landis picked on me constantly. Once even choked me and told me he wanted to kill me, and I would wind up reassuring him that he wasn't a monster when he felt bad about it, because I felt bad that he was so sick. Manning, who started dating Landis around 2007, has blocked most of that time out. It was a long time ago, and I know there are other things that I just cannot bring forward, and do not want to, in my mind, Manning wrote in a statement, The emotional abuse took control of me to the point where I got down to 115 pounds at 5'10", still not skinny enough. He'd smack food out of my hand in front of his family to stop me from eating it. There was no option of not having sex if Max wanted to and you did not. The first incident that I can remember, we were at some public event and I think I laughed at something and he just started choking me to the point where my eyes were blacking out. Manning told the Daily Beast. I felt such confusion that I tried to leave and I was drunk and I had to just kind of wait while he tried to convince me that he didn't mean it. I remember going roller skating with Max. He was not good at roller skating and I laughed. I was knocked to the ground. He threw the plate of food he'd been holding in my face. A heavily redacted legal document obtained by the Daily Beast shows that Max Landis was involved in a September 2008 Miami Circuit court case, Domestic Violence Division. The Daily Beast reached out to Callie Ray, the woman listed in the documents. Ray confirmed that she made the 2008 sexual assault allegations against Landis and eventually dropped the case. She directed the Daily Beast to her close friend, Ashley Heffington Dion, who witnessed her alleged sexual assault by Landis. In a written statement, Dion recalled that Callie had told her she was going out for drinks that night with a group of friends, including Max Landis. Later that night, Dion wrote that she was sleeping and woke up to the sound of someone falling. After a little more commotion, she heard her friend calling her boyfriend's name, sounding confused and out of it. She called her boyfriend's name again, and then heard a male voice confirming he was her boyfriend. Knowing her boyfriend was out of town at the time, she jumped out of bed and walked into the living room to see Max over Callie on their couch. He was on top of her and her pants were off. He was thrusting and I could hear the sound of what he was doing and I yelled, "You need to leave right now." He got up, quickly pulling his pants up, and I physically rushed him, aggressively demanding he leave. Standing now in the carport, I yelled at him that what he was doing was wrong and it was not okay and he needed to leave right now, Dion continued. He started to get highly emotional and was crying, saying he knew it was wrong and he was so sorry. It seemed as though he was hoping to be confronted in that moment. I went back inside to check on my friend. She was crying and confused and didn't have a consciousness. And I guess basically Max's lawyer intimidated them and they called it off. Bobcat Goldthwait's daughter, Tasha, worked as a costume designer on Landis' 2015 feature directorial debut, Me, Him, Her, which was filmed in the summer of 2013. On set, Goldthwait says he would talk about his penis all the time to me. Brag about the size of it, she continued. On set, he would touch me all the time. He would pick me up and turn me upside down and carry me around on set. My shirt would come above my face and I'd be exposed. At one point, we were on set with people around and he pushed me down and got on top of me on a bed. I raised my voice and told him to get off of me and eventually managed to get him off. She eventually quit. I didn't quit until the last 2 or 3 weeks, she said. And Bobcat Goldthwait said that his daughter told him about some of the behavior, him lifting her up and having her shirt open up, and him being very crude constantly around her. My daughter knows the difference between people making a joke and people creating an unsafe and aggressive work environment. He added that, aside from his daughter, he's heard a lot of talk about Landis' behavior, and I don't know why the story never gets broken. And I don't know if he has the ability to crush the story, or his family does, or the people that hire him. Because apparently, the story would have broke earlier, but it was shelved by the Hollywood Reporter.
Max was...
You see, this face is a serious face.
He didn't like the ending.
I wrote an ending.
He was wrong.
I was, admittedly, a lot of people like this ending. I'll open up to that because my father really knows...
This is what you do when you promote a DVD, is you discuss a disagreement about the DVD.
Well, yeah, because...
You're not helping us, Zach.
Well, clearly you must both have women issues.
Fucking stoned.